If you feel like you're drinking from an AI news fire hose lately, you are definitely not alone. It's just this constant barrage of breakthroughs, billion-dollar deals, and some genuinely weird headlines. It's almost impossible to keep up. So for the next few minutes, we're going to try and cut through that noise and make some sense of it all. Let's just dive right in.
One minute, you've got the CEO of OpenAI just casually chatting about what life is going to be like after GPT-5, like it's any other dinner conversation. The hype is just completely off the charts, but so is the kind of casual confidence of the people building this stuff. And then, bam, you see these numbers that are just staggering. Startups like Cohere, which isn't even a household name yet, are pulling in valuations that could rival huge established companies. And it's all being fueled by the giants, NVIDIA, AMD, the ones making the actual chips that power this whole revolution. The money is just pouring in. But then that same fire hose hits you with something pretty chilling. A US senator is opening an investigation into Meta because its AI chatbots were reportedly having romantic, even sensual conversations with kids. Suddenly, the real-world consequences are hitting home, and they are incredibly serious. And just to keep things strange, you get headlines like this one. An AI's idea of a typical Australian dad apparently involves owning a pet iguana. It's kind of funny, sure, but it's also this surreal little reminder that these incredibly powerful systems are still filled with weird biases and quirks that we really don't understand at all.
So, from the world-changing to the downright bizarre, that's the landscape right now. It is chaotic. But there's a really clear theme that's starting to emerge from all this noise, a reason why AI feels so completely inescapable. So how on earth did we get to this point of, total saturation? Well, this quote from Damis Hassabis, who runs Google's entire AI division, he just nails it. The goal isn't for AI to be some separate thing you have to go and use. The goal is for AI to be this invisible, integrated layer in everything you already use. That right there is the mission, and it is fueling an absolutely unprecedented tech arms race.
Which brings us right to the great AI race. This is not just some friendly competition, okay? This is a frantic, incredibly high-stakes battle for what these companies are convinced is the future of technology itself.
So in the heavyweight division, you've really got the two titans slugging it out. You have OpenAI, and they're just pushing the absolute limits with models like GPT-5, focusing on making that best-in-class experience that everyone wants to use. Then you've got Google. They're playing the long game, the integration game, with their Gemini models. They're weaving them into the very fabric of everything they do, search, Android, you name it. Two totally different strategies, one single goal, complete dominance.
But this race is so much bigger than just those two. You've got this whole field of contenders, and they're all trying to carve out their own space. Anthropic, for instance, is building its entire brand on the idea of AI safety. Cohere is going after big business, the enterprise clients. And then, of course, you've got Elon Musk's xAI, which is trying to stand out with its spicy mode that promises fewer restrictions.
And the sheer scale of the investment here is it's wild. A number like $6.8 billion for a single startup, it shows you that investors are betting literal fortunes that this tech is going to fundamentally reshape entire industries. This is way beyond hype. It's a massive financial gamble on what's next.
And this race, it isn't just about code and money. It is absolutely about people. A full-blown talent war is raging. We're seeing top researchers jump from one company to another. Entire startup teams are getting bought up just for their brainpower. And you even have co-founders of major players leaving to start their own thing. The most valuable asset in this race, it's still the human brain.
Okay, but with all this frantic building, this incredible rush to be first, a really critical question is starting to bubble up. Is the foundation of what we're all building actually solid? Or are we starting to see some pretty serious cracks appear? This is the question that researchers and safety experts are starting to ask with a lot more urgency. For all the amazing things we're seeing these models do, what if the underlying reasoning, what if it's all just fundamentally brittle? And a lot of this concern centers on this brand new vulnerability they're calling fake reasoning bias.
To put it simply, it means you can show a really powerful AI a step-by-step argument that looks perfectly logical, but it has a hidden flaw, and you can trick the model into agreeing with the wrong conclusion, completely overriding what it already knows. So for anyone who's using AI for research or even just fact-checking, this is huge. It means you can't always trust the process the AI shows you, even when it looks totally convincing. This quote, from a discussion among actual machine learning experts, just captures the whole concern perfectly. If the very process of an AI thinking can be derailed so easily, it makes you question how much we can ever trust these models in any scenario where the stakes are high. It kind of suggests the whole thing is way more fragile than it looks. And look, this isn't just theoretical. Check out these numbers. On a standard logical reasoning test, GPT-4 gets it wrong about 20% of the time. Which, okay, but when you introduce this fake reasoning technique, its error rate skyrockets to over 62%. That's not a small bump, that is a catastrophic failure in reasoning, and it shows you just how vulnerable even our most advanced systems really are.
And, these cracks in the foundation, they're not just technical glitches. This same mad rush to deploy is leading to some profound ethical failures with very real consequences for very real people. And this might be the most disturbing example yet. According to leaked internal documents, Meta's own rules actually permitted chatbots to engage in these kinds of interactions with users who were underage. This isn't some accidental bug. It points to a massive breakdown in oversight and ethical responsibility right from the top.
Okay, so after all of that high-level drama, the race for supremacy, the alarming cracks, let's bring this back down to earth. Beyond the hype and the fear, how is this tech actually being used by businesses right now, today, to just get stuff done? Well, for a lot of businesses, it looks a lot like this. You have platforms that let technical teams basically connect the dots between the apps they already use. Think Slack, Salesforce, whatever. You define a trigger, you drop in a little AI logic like summarize this email or classify this ticket, and then you set an automated action. It's really about making the workflows you already have smarter and more efficient and saving people from boring, repetitive work. And the results? They're totally tangible. This is where all the hype actually meets reality. Delivery Hero saved 200 hours a month with just one IT workflow. The recruiting company Stepstone found they could do 2 weeks of data integration work in just 2 hours. This is the practical, maybe less glamorous side of AI, but it's where a ton of the real, measurable value is being created.
So you have this massive contradiction, right? A technology that can save a company hundreds of hours, but can also be tricked into believing complete nonsense. A technology that's attracting billions in investment, while also facing these huge ethical crises. And that brings us to the ultimate question. Is this all just a massive bubble? Or is it the dawn of a brave new world?
Even Sam Altman, the guy right at the center of it all, he admits it. He says, yes, we are in a bubble. But his crucial point is that bubbles always form around a kernel of truth. The hype might be completely overblown, but there is something real, something revolutionary at the center of it. The real challenge is just figuring out how to separate the two.
And that leaves us with probably the most provocative, maybe uncomfortable question for the year ahead. We've seen just incredible progress, but we're also seeing the limits and the flaws more clearly than ever before. So, what if this is it? What if we're hitting a plateau and the AI we have right now is basically as good as it gets for a while? The answer to that question, well, it's going to define the next decade of technology.